Hey smokers, Urago1 here, and it looks like we're going to have another beige flatbed Mac video here for you today. Introducing the Macintosh LC III. Now, the Macintosh LC III, according to everymac.com, is in fact a 68K Mac. But of course, even though it says it on the bottom of the case and all the model numbers match up, we're still going to open it up to see, to make sure that it actually is in fact a 68K Mac. So another interesting thing we can do while we're under the hood is it turns out that the Macintosh LC III is also just the exact same thing as the Performa 450. It's actually the non-consumer version of the Performa 450, according to everymac. Well, luckily for us today, we just so happen to have a Performa 475, or at least I hope it is. But we have a Performa 475, which is pretty similar in model number to Performa 450. Now, unfortunately for this guy, this one actually doesn't boot up. It just boots up to black and nothing happens. So if we have kind of an undesirable amount of RAM in this, I believe it's 8 megabytes currently, we may be able to transplant some memory from this guy. So let's go ahead and crack her open. Now, I'm fairly certain you can just take the back off without even having to unplug everything. Of course, I have the power unplugged at the strip level. And these guys are really, really easy to open. So, there's of course logic board. There's some RAM right there. And, yeah. So that's the power supply, floppy disk drive, which was giving me a little bit of problems. It's now doing, its automatic eject mechanism is working properly now. And of course, we have a Quantum Fireball, I think. It's a Quantum Pro Drive ELS. Sorry. So if that's what the inside of an LC3 looks like, let's see what the inside of a Performa 475. It looks pretty much the same, but with a slightly different arrangement. Things look a little bit different. One thing to note about this guy, though, is that you are seeing that very distinct looking 68K processor there. Now that's something we seem to be missing on this one. Something we definitely want to pay attention to at this point. Now, as unexciting as it is in comparison to this 68 LC040 68K processor, this one has a 68030 processor, which is, yes, a 68K processor. And yes, this matches up to the spec on the everymac page. Other oddities include an AMD logo, that thing, but nothing that really hints to me that it's a PowerPC processor anyway. So, question, compatible RAM? No RAM I can really safely, or anything that I'd feel comfortable with taking out and moving over. Does this thing not boot because there's no thingy here? No RAM there? I mean, there's these. Looks like there's some onboard stuff. I don't know. I'll figure it out later. But the point is that we know what a 68K processor looks like now, and we looked it up, and this is certainly a 68K processor. So, looks like we're going to be okay. If you're wondering why I care so much about whether or not this is a 68K Mac or not, check out my Macintosh Performa 630 CD ? Video, and you'll see how I got considerably confused when I wound up with a model that actually had either a swapped logic board or just had the faceplate changed on it. It actually turned out to be a PowerPC machine. So to make sure that doesn't happen again, we're going to double check the innards on this. So since we have confirmation that this in fact is a 68K processor, we can move forward. Another cool feature is that is the speaker. That's about it. And the fan. It's kind of neat positioning, so it draws the air up. So, since I was pointing out the processor a lot, that is a 25 megahertz processor. So it's slow as balls. This computer is a little bit older than the Performa 630 CD, or I guess it was the Power Macintosh 6200 I think it was in the last video. All these models are very, very confusing. This machine was first introduced in 1993. It was discontinued in 1994, which was when the 630 CD, or I guess you could say the Power Macintosh 6200 came around. So this is a little bit before they started introducing PowerPCs in the first place. So I think we're double safe that the LC3 is going to be okay. And for those of you who really want to see it, there's the bottom. Model number M1254. Here's the back of the Macintosh LC3. Of course, have the older style on-off switch for the power supply. So basically, you turn it on and the power supply stays on, and if you tell the system to shut down, it just gives you the it's now safe to shut off your Macintosh. You can do that. Of course, AC in, DB15 port. These are the two serial ports for printer and I guess a modem of some description. This is SCSI, Apple desktop bus, headphone / speaker port, and a microphone port. Very, very simple. Very, very easy to open. Just push those tabs up, pull the case off. It's called a pizza box for a reason. And this is somewhat of a monumentous day, a bit, because I believe it was either this or something that didn't have that front groove like the Performa 475 here. It looked like this. This was probably one of the same kind of Macs that I used when I was in 3rd grade playing Kid Pix. So I guess that would be yet another video we can do. Kid Pix on the Macintosh LC3, or if we can get it working, the Performa. But of course, no Macintosh would be any good at all without an operating system. Well, I just so happen to have some disks for that. Yeah, actually quite a few. And most of them were formerly IBM formatted. But, you know, they still do the trick. So, writing all of these images to disks was not really a problem. But this little thing on the bottom there, see that? System Enabler 003. Yeah, that's a system enabler for this specific model of Macintosh. It's required to be on the root of the system boot disk or it will not start up the installer, no matter what. It says that you don't have a new enough system software, even though it will just work just fine. Today we're going to be installing 7.1 off of floppies. Now 7.1 is the absolute minimum that you can put on this. I wanted to put 6 on, but that's going sort of more into Macintosh 2 territory. I'm going to be doing another video on the Macintosh 2 to properly go over it without screen flickery. So here we have the install disk 1. QuickTime 1.5, we may actually be able to play a video file of some description. Tidbits, which is some extra stuff. That's the disk tools for formatting the drive, and then that's the secondary install disk. So all you have to do, shove that in there, and we're good to start it up. So as far as I know, this will start right up to something that I can use to actually reformat the drive without having to use the disk tools, because I don't know if I'll have to put the system enabler on that disk as well. Let's go ahead and turn it on. It's really soft, but it has a distinctly different startup tone. Oh yeah, forgot to turn on the monitor. You will hear this whining noise. Sounds like bombs dropping. Funny thing is that I actually did see the macOS bomb while I was trying to get the... Now it's going back up again. Yeah, so I did get the Macintosh bomb when I was trying to get the system enabler working. I used the wrong one and it didn't want to start up. But now it is actually starting up off the floppy disk, and it makes a gnarly sound. Alright, so this is what you're greeted with if you successfully get your disk booted up with your system enabler. So the system enabler probably has specific information that specifically identifies this model of Macintosh to the system. Because since they were releasing so many different Macintosh systems, they had all kinds of different system enablers so that they could use one operating system to have, I guess you could say, drivers for all the different computers. Or just special identifier information? I have no idea. Your Macintosh needs certain software to read. So this isn't giving us any option to... Oh, look at all that. Doesn't appear to be giving us any option to format. And it will eject the disk automatically. Let me try and find the tools disk. There it is. You see, it's giving me ample time to put this guy in. And if it doesn't start up to it, I will show you what needs to be done to put the system enabler onto a floppy disk. Now, hopefully the tools disk is generally a universal... Oh man, are you serious? So yeah, this is what it does if you don't have the system enabler. It claims and confuses you that it says that you need a newer version that will work. And although this is technically true, if you have System 7.5, you don't need a system enabler, but for anything below that, it does. So to simplify things, and I know in the last video I said, isn't it great that these dialog boxes tell you everything you need to know? This is one of those cases where it really doesn't. So I guess I'll show you how to put a system enabler, or at least the system enabler for the LC3, to, I guess you could say, slipstream it onto the drive here. So let's do that now. Okay, now I know I just said I didn't want to record a flickery screen, but this is all I had set up right now that was already ready to go that had the files on it. So you can see that I have multiple different system enablers that I got from MacGUI.com or MacGUI.com, however you prefer to pronounce it. So this one doesn't work. This one crashes the Mac. This one's not detected. This is one of the After Dark screensavers. That is the fractal generator thing, which comes on after a minute. This one is the one I used that successfully started up the installer. It was double bundled in a bin and sit archive for Stuffit Expander. And so here we have our system enabler 003. This is what needs to be put on the root of the tools disk. As you can see, there's not much to it. It's only 12K. Version 1.0, copyright Apple Computer, 1992. So what we have to do is put our disk into our trusty external USB floppy drive, because the iMac doesn't have a floppy drive. So this is the disk tools disk, how it would look like, and this is how it's going to look like on the LC3. Now there's, from what I read on Apple support forums, is that if you have a floppy boot disk and it has a system folder, you should put the system enabler in the system folder, not in the root. Only put it in the root if you have a system suitcase which you can't open. Yes, it's getting that complicated. But luckily we were able to figure it out here. So I'm going to go ahead and drop it in the system folder because the disk is locked. Yes, that is true, because I did put the disk on lock because I was cherishing the actual integrity of the data there. Not that it really matters, since I can just burn another one, quote unquote. So I agreed with disk tools again. I'm going to drag the system enabler over to the system folder. It's going to copy it, and we're done. And that's how you install a system enabler onto a old Macintosh startup disk for Macintoshes if you want to use systems older than 7.5. And booting for the tools disk should go off without a hitch. There we go. Welcome to Macintosh. Now this is before they had the Finder logo. I still have that sort of old school 80s colorful, stylized, artsy-fartsy little logo there that they had printed on the boxes of original Macintoshes, but in a less pixel art form. Okay, so the advantage to the Disk Tools disk is that it functions as a pre-installed environment. So basically you just boot it up and use macOS. Of course, it's very trimmed down and pretty much a very usable version of the operating system. Now let's see what our system enabler did to the About This Mac screen, and it does show that we have a Macintosh LC III. So it looks like it is properly identifying the machine. So there's the disk tool thing we saw before. Apple HDSC setup. Assuming this is how we format the drive. The volume name is Pipe. Now look at all this cool stuff we can do. This is probably the earliest form of disk utility I've ever seen. So we can update partition test. Let's go ahead and initialize it. Here we'll erase all data on Pipe. Initialize. Jesus Christ. I'm slowly growing old. If there's a bad hard drive in there, I'm totally fucked. Oh, things are picking up. It's going faster now. I'm waiting for this for about 2 minutes now. Oh, God. God damn it. Don't worry, it's just verifying. Holy shit. I pressed the record button to make a joke, and it's done the second I hit record. Oh yeah, by the way, it took like 5 minutes. 420! It took like 5 minutes. Anyway, the joke was, oh, well shit, it's still not done yet. So for whatever reason, I never threw this away. This is the cap that goes over the motherboard pins. This was for my Asus motherboard in my main computer. It says this cap must be placed if returning the motherboard. Thanks for the vow of confidence, Asus. Come to think of it, that wasn't very funny. That's just sad. Okay, disk initialization successfully completed. Just in time, too! And it only took like 6 minutes and 30 seconds. Because we're adding a minute, because I didn't start the timer until about a minute in when I realized this is going to take a year. So as you can see, there's, well, you can't see. There's no menu bar at the top, no options. You can just click in the background and let it sing. Okay. We're not going to do anything else with this because this thing takes forever to get anything done. So, quit. So here's our now empty pipe drive. It's a 150 megabyte hard disk. Good gracious. Let's rename it to something slightly better. There we go. Alright, so the time has come. We are about to install... What the hell is it? macOS 7.1. Now, as per some sort of crazy rule, every time you restart the computer, it automatically spits out the disk, which is handy. But at the same time, if you are putting a disk in preemptively, before you restart, it'll just spit it out again and you have to push it back in. So, that's kind of suck. Alright, back to where we started, except now we're one step ahead. Alright, so for whatever reason, it's set to the installer disk. Let's switch disk, and bam, there we are, blunt. So, but of course, we want to do a custom install, because we want to know exactly what's going on. Now, of course, the disk we're looking at right now only has 1.44 megabytes worth of stuff on it. There's not a whole lot of stuff we'd have to pick from. Shift click to select multiple items. Most of the stuff we don't need, because we don't have those computers. Well, we don't have the computers in front of the camera right now anyway. Most of the stuff is for like printers. Some of this stuff it won't ask for. And for example, I didn't actually write a fonts disk. There's actually a fonts disk. There's a couple other disks. So actually, let's go back to easy install just to mix it up from last version. So Macintosh family, system software, all printing software, all file sharing software. So maybe not, because we don't want printing software. System software, for any Macintosh. This is for all members of the Macintosh family. It is recommended choice for the Macintosh with a hard disk. So we don't want file sharing software, we don't want EtherTalk, TokenTalk, we don't want software for printers, we don't want these things, and it's been 10 minutes since I started that. Image writer, system for Macintosh Portable, Macintosh PowerBook 100, blah 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 blah. So minimum system for any Macintosh, that's if you have a really crap amount of storage. Minimal set of system software for use on all members of the Macintosh family. It's recommended choice for high density startup disks. Okay. So since we don't want that, system software for any Macintosh. That's literally all we want. Install. So hopefully it just needs both install disks and we're done. Now what it's probably going to want is something off of the tidbits disk. Oh crap, it needs the fonts disk. Yep, so it needs install disk 1, which is in the drive. It needs install disk 2, which is right there. It needs the tidbits disk, which is right there, and it needs the fonts disk. So I need to QuickTime. I'm gonna have to make some compromises here before it finishes. That was the disk tools, definitely need that. QuickTime, if we really need it, I'll rewrite it to the disk. But for the time being, let's go ahead and write this with the fonts disk image. So for those of you who are no doubt curious how I'm getting all this old Apple software, it comes in the form of disk images. So for this I put QuickTime 1.5 on this disk, but since we're not really going to use that, since I didn't select that, and since we need the fonts disk, we're going to write the fonts disk to this instead of the QuickTime disk. So, got our trusty USB floppy drive here. Go ahead and put it on. Make sure the write protect is not on, and it is not. Okay, so we're good. Go ahead and open a disk image, and as you can see, I already have disk images up right here. And so we definitely need the fonts disk, so we'll select that. And then once it's selected, go ahead and write. And then this sometimes happens when my computer's open, which is kind of ass. Yeah, that was one of those you need to relaunch disk write. It has a little bit of a temperament, and uh-oh, the Macintosh LC3 is begging for install disk 2, so we gotta hurry this up. So let's go ahead and open this, get the fonts image. It'll do a little bit of loading here. And it identifies it, and then we go ahead and hit write. And we'll start writing the fonts disk image to the QuickTime disk, since we're not using the QuickTime disk at the moment. And so we'll just let that write and switch back over to the LC3. So you can hear it turning in the background. It's already automatically ejected install disk 1. Here's our disk 2. Now the disk 2, since it's not booting, does not require a system enabler because the system enabler has already been loaded off the first disk, and I didn't even have to click anything. I just had to insert the next one and it already detected it, which is pretty nice. So it shows you all the disks you need. I don't know if it's going to start. Okay, it's already done. Apparently we're going to have to switch back and forth disk-wise here. Now this is by far the... oh shit. So this happens sometimes. And the button is sorry? Is that... am I confirming that I'm sorry? Or that they're sorry? Now one thing I did notice is that sometimes the disk does in fact get damaged and corrupted. So we can try installing from it again, but we may need to write yet another disk image. Hopefully this isn't that shaky of an install. I am throwing these floppy disks around and on the carpet, and I had a lot of comments about electrostatic discharge. And yes, I know, it's not really a big deal. If a computer's legitimately going to fry because of my carpet, I'm just going to throw it away. Because I have too many computers. Now, of course, it's not an excuse for throwing SSDs on the carpet, but, you know, I'm just pretty careless, so. I did notice that it said removing outdated files, meaning that it's probably not going to install files it's already tried to install, so now it's just sort of verifying, possibly. I'm probably giving System 7.1 a little bit too much credit in what it's actually able to do, although that'd be pretty nice. being accommodating and all. So this could be the potentially damaged disk. If it does it again, I'm just going to cry myself to sleep sometime later. But as well as installing, someone actually made a had a pretty good point. How did anyone ever survive when something like this? How did anyone ever survive with pre-Mac OS 10 Mac OS or something like that? And I gotta say, that is a really good point, because I don't see how they did it. Using this operating system is back-asswards, difficult. Trying to transfer files between computers is just ass. They're designed to be proprietary as hell, and just really, really not compatible, and everything. And then there's like no software that I know of, and I mean, there's software out there, I guess. You had to be in the trenches back in the early to mid 90s to have actually known how to actually get along with a kind of computer like this back then. You know, perhaps a lot of my just absolute fascination and sort of odd nostalgic gravitation towards these old early 90s beige Macs, maybe a couple of commercials I saw on YouTube back in 2007. It was all Apple marketing material that was designed specifically to make the Macintosh platform look superior, sophisticated, easy to use, really useful for business, and that was, however, just like a commercial. So, yeah. Writing font Monaco? Wait a minute. I thought we needed a fonts disk for that. Well, I guess it has the basic fonts already on there. So let's see if we have a more successful install disk 2 experience. Restoring username? Setting correct desktop pattern? Cleaning up? So that's all you needed to do? Something tells me this is gonna fail. God damn it. Now it is possible for, well, I don't know how possible it is, but it might be possible for us to just restart the computer and it'll boot up just fine. That might have been put enough software on the drive to have a booting system. So let's go ahead and just quit. What? I don't have any floppy disks in the drive. Okay. So we know how to fix this error, right? Just put the system enabler in the system folder. We could do that with the tools disk, remember? Now I will admit this is a very back-asswards way to install System 7.1, and hell, I don't even know if everything's going to get installed correctly. But if we can get it to boot up about to this point, we can sort of drag and drop all the other files we need, if we need them. Sort of stuff that wouldn't have come over. A bunch of control panels, of course, more betterer fonts. Networking stuff that we won't use. But the actual basic system should be able to exist just on this disk, since the basic system, as you can see, is starting up to a pre-installed environment already, exists on another 1.44 megabyte floppy disk. Double density, what's the actual nomenclature for that? So as far as the machine knows, it was trying to boot up a floppy disk. I guess according to it can't tell the difference. Okay, so we have a system folder, but that's about it. What's in the system folder? Do we have a finder? We have a system suitcase. This may be enough for us to finish the installation. But the number one thing we need to make sure is in there right now is the System Enabler 003. Now this is a pretty barren system folder that we got right over here. I don't know if it's going to copy this successfully. And since it looks so bad, I almost don't want to try it. So now that we're actually started up, let's try ejecting disk tools. Ah, crap. So since the problem doesn't start until we get onto disk 2, I'll just rewrite disk 2 onto this and I'll try everything over again. So now before I start kicking myself in the head over and over again, let's try to run the minimum system install for any Macintosh. It contains a minimal set of system software for use on all members of the Macintosh family. But this is actually designed to be installed on a floppy disk. That's how small it is. Because see it, look, size 1.3K. 1300K, 1.3 megabytes. Because otherwise I click this and now we're looking at 3.5 megabytes. So since we really just want to get a bootable system and we can drag and drop everything we want later, we could just try and do this and see what it does. Cross your fingers. So what is it going to, which disks will it need this time? It's going to need the fonts disk. Because if it doesn't need the fonts disk, I'm going to cry a little because we took the time to write that and yeah, it's not going to need the fonts disk. It doesn't need the fonts disk. Damn it. But it's not the end of the world. We can always just drag and drop. That's what we're going to have to do anyway. Interestingly enough, it appears to be simple enough to literally drag and drop all the components you need from the floppy disks into the specific system folders. They make it all very clear, like here are your Apple menu items, here's your control panels. You would never see that in a million years on a Windows system. I guess that's why they wanted to make Macs a little bit more accessible for the inner workings of the operating system. So that if people wanted to add things, for example, to their startup folder, they could just drag it there. You know, I don't know if users were actually encouraged to go into the system folder, but alright. Moment of truth. Install 2. Commence prayer now. This is exactly what it did last time. Oh no. Such nervousness. Fuck. Alright, so the disks are shot. So we're moving to plan B, which is to copy the pre-installed environment from disk tools on into the system folder here to hopefully make a successful bootable system. And then once we get that system booted up, we'll go ahead and copy the rest of the stuff. Some items in this location have the same names as the items you're moving. Do you want to replace them with the ones you're moving? No, yes, and no, just OK and cancel. I guess that means the same thing, and functionally would be okay, except if there was a no option, it would imply that you'd be able to continue copying some files. Apparently System 7.1 had no support for continuing a copy operation, ignoring the likes of everything else. Whatever. We're doing it. So this is what a real installation looks like, and I bet you this is going to be a lot faster too. Alright, and that was it. That only took like a minute. And theoretically it should be ready to rock and roll. It has everything you need. It has Finder, it has System. It's in the System folder. And there's a bunch of other folders. We have our handy dandy system enabler that'll allow it to boot on this system. It's going to boot up exactly like the disk tools disk will. It won't have this or this, but we don't really need it. I could drag it onto the hard drive just for the hell of it, just so we have them, so I don't need to use the disk tools disk anymore. Doesn't really matter. Alright, so that's how you install macOS 7.1 the old-fashioned way. Let's go ahead and restart it. Gonna kick the disk out. Got nothing in the drive. Got the system enabler. That's a really good sign. Holy balls. That boot was fast! Damn! Like, get on my level, SSD. Let's try that again. Now, this is the most cut back. I'm gonna go ahead and hit start there. This is the most cut back and simple version of macOS 7.1 that there is. Because it's the boot disk. 14-second boot up. We booted the boot up disk. That's gold. Alright, so this is a functional system. Of course, we have nothing up here. Nothing at all. Because there's no Apple menu items. So, here we go. Apple menu items. Nada. So that's a little disheartening. The problem with using this disk is everything's packed into a system library, so we can't really access it. Everything seems to be on the install disk too, but that might just have everything we need. So let's pop that in and see what we have access to. See if it gives us stuff like Scrapbook, the Chooser. This is where the Finder is. Here's all the network stuff. But we already have the Finder. This is going to be a little awkward here. Eject disk. Let's try tidbits. Okay, so we have Apple menu items. Thank God. Oh, look at all that. Everything we need. Command all. Copy it all into the Apple menu items. Perfect, perfect. And now when we click the Apple logo, oh, there's our menu. Has everything we need. And still reporting Macintosh LC III. Perfect, perfect. Okay, so what else are we missing? So that was the Apple menu items. Control panels. Nothing in there. This is why it starts up so fast, because there's no control panels, no extensions. So let's go into the control panels thing on tidbits. As you can see, it has pretty much everything else you could possibly need. Downside right now is we actually don't have any sound. No sound was actually loaded since we started boot up disk. So we're going to have to copy all of this over. Copy all the control panels over. There's a control panel for PowerBook. Don't know why. This is a one-size-fits-all installation. Yep, how they're in there. So if you go to control panels here, it's just going to open, well, this folder again. Is there any cleanup command? Cleanup window. That was cool. Encode that. Apple Utilities. This just looks like some stuff that really could go into the root of the drive. Could not be read because a disk error occurred. Do you want to continue copying? Continue, yes, because I don't need Apple File Exchange. So there's something wrong with this disk, or there's something wrong with this drive. It's a miracle I got anything to work out of this thing at all. And there we go. Got TeachDexit on there now. So where there are extensions, file sharing extension, Apple Share, and Caps Lock. So you can enable the use of Caps Lock. I guess we can load all of these extensions in for if we do want to do file sharing in the future with Apple Talk cables. We can do that. Because the amount of extensions we have right now, I have no idea. Let me look at it while we're copying. No. Well, we actually have sound. We have enough sound to make the ping noise. Let's see if we can actually bring up the sound control panel without a restart. Yep. Don't have a lot of sounds. Some of those sounds might be wrapped into the install disk 1, which we really don't have too much access to. So that's our extensions. We got extensions, control panels, Apple Utilities. We got the Apple Menu items, close view scrapbook file. I don't know where that goes. That might go in Apple Menu items, possibly. I have no idea where the scrapbook file goes. But I'll go ahead and put it in the system folder, and we'll figure it out later. Close view and early access. I mean easy access. Sorry, too much steam. Should go in control panels. Figure out what to do with the scrapbook file later. So let's go ahead and get rid of tidbits. Put install disk 1 in. We've crafted a fine system folder today, ladies and gentlemen. So here's the problem with the install folder. We get a system suitcase. Now this potentially could be... We could drag and drop this. Oh, see, there are those other sound effects I was just talking about. So here's the other system suitcase. It's got jack in it. Can we just drag and drop this? Holy crap, is that really gonna work? Holy piss, it worked. US System 6 keyboard layout. Anything else on here we need? Well, there's the actual installer itself. Install FDHD. Okay, so let's go back to the sound control panel. And there's our other sounds. And they all play exactly the same thing. So we'll have to do a restart because we've done all this on under one boot. So whoops. So let's do a restart. See how fast it does from the startup tone. Usually I start when like the Happy Mac appears, or the Apple logo appears. Now I'm actually doing it from the tone because it goes so fast. It doesn't make that much of a difference. Oh my god, I think it's actually going to start up anyway, really super fast. I think it did. 18 seconds, probably, you know, whatever. And remember I said sound is not up here? Well, I'm just full of crap because sound was never up here. Sound was not even here on macOS 9. I'm just stoned and think that this is like some weird version of macOS 10. The downside is there's no control strip. I don't think that exists until like 7.5? Or we just need to copy over a control panel from somewhere. Yeah, so control panels, sound. Let's see if we can get Indigo. No, that may be one of the casualties to doing the install this way. Memory. Currently virtual memory is off. General controls. Oh, here we can adjust the desktop pattern. Let's see if I can do this. There. It's a weed leaf. Oh, perfect! I think. So this general control panel looks like it's been evolved just slightly out of the System 1 through System 6 era of simplicity. Of course, it thinks that the current year is 1956. Let's try and change that to... That doesn't help at all. Yep, not Y2K compliant, not a big surprise. Apparently there's a map. Tells me what time it is there. That's kind of cool. This close view thing Magnification? Oh my god, there's magnification on this operating system? It's kind of laggy. Like, really laggy. Let's go ahead and turn that off. Yeah, you hear that? That's a squeaky. I think that's like the capacitor's like leaking or something. Okay. And it does sound like it's coming from the power supply side, so let's try and finish this. Startup disk should be set to blunt. I don't see why it wouldn't be. Yep, that's why it started up so fast, because it didn't have to look for it. Views, I'm just trying to see if there's anything in here that doesn't specifically work right off the bat. And I think everything's fine. Window color, let's turn it green. Keep it real. Select color, green. Yeah, that's pretty deafening. Control panel brightness cannot be used with this Macintosh, probably because PowerBook cannot be used with this Macintosh, because those refer to portable. Sharing setup numbers, close view sound, startup disk. There's no speech, because that doesn't exist on this operating system, I don't believe. So of course, there we go. Now there were a whole bunch of games I wanted to play on this old Mac, now that I actually do have a 68K Mac, finally. But all of these require CD-ROM, so that's no good. Good news is I have a game for such a situation where we don't actually have a CD-ROM drive. Space Madness! It's literally the only Mac game that I have on a floppy disk. Let's see if it'll actually work. There's some of the documentation that came with it. A CD-ROM adventure. This must be talking about something else. Yeah, it requires QuickTime on Mac OS. Fills any monitor, even 21-inch. Accelerator for Power Macintosh. Seeing that an awful lot. We don't need that Power Macintosh nonsense. Here we go. The user manual. It's the most plain printed user manual I've ever seen. Bet you it doesn't have any pictures. I'm not really hating on the people who put it together because they didn't put pictures in there. You should know how to just read and it'll be enough. But, you know, it's nice to flip through things. So there we are. Space Madness version 1.1. Space Madness installer, but there's something in here first. Important README. Welcome to the Changeling family. We sincerely hope you enjoy Space Madness. To install Space Madness, double click on the installer. Oh, so basically what you're saying is I didn't have to open this. Gotcha. Wait, your Space Madness serial number is shown in the registration information screen. Press R on the main screen to reach it. You will need the registration code found in the serial number file in the space. My ears! God damn it! Ah, you gotta block out the noise. What if the ping sound effect is like, save me, is the only sound effect the Mac can actually make, because I'll make a new folder called Space Madness, but I can't because I need to cancel first, and I need to create a new fucking folder, but there's no control key on this keyboard. New folder. Hey, Madness, and it again. Something is dying in this machine. We have to get it running before it's too late. Oh god. Oh god. I'm probably gonna have to throw an EQ on this audio so that it filters out that frequency, because oh my god, that is ear piercing. Use the Space Madness folder. Extract. Go, 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 go. Compacted by Compact Pro. Auto extractor. Copyright 1994. Bill Goodman. Files remaining to be extracted. 3. I wonder what that frequency is. It's like the ear ringing frequency after you get hit by a flashbang, except it's just all the time. My eyes are gonna pop out. Now, I don't mean to be repetitive, but I do believe I have played this game twice on my channel already. But it was on Power Macintosh in both instances. I have a PowerBook 5300C, and I was probably playing it on that, because that computer also only has a floppy disk drive, and this game was more than appropriate for that, since it was on a floppy disk. So, yeah, we're gonna play it. Oh, I thought it went away. We're gonna play it on 68K. I still have yet to get a 68K Mac that has a CD-ROM drive, so I guess it's done. As are my ears. Oh, it already made its own folder. I'll just put it right there. Get rid of this crap. Alright, it's got its cool own shaded folder there. It's light years ahead of System 7.1. See, there's my serial number. I can look at the Changeling catalog, or I could just start Space Madness. I'm not going to read me, because I'm a dick. Please make sure to set the speed optimizations for optimum performance on your machine. Or hit C on the main menu. High risk ventures. Looks like we're loading up. Now, when I first played this game, it was not really apparent what to do. The controls are kind of weird, as they are with pretty much every early Mac title. All the keys are spread all across the keyboard, and then you sort of have to figure out what's going on. It's not one of those pick up and play. Try increasing the application's memory partition. Is that the Finder guy swearing? 2CX, 2CI, 2SI, 2VX, 2VI. What the fuck? Why are there so many different 2 models? LC, LC2, LC3. So it's supported. System 6.0.7 or later. Memory 2.5 megabytes of free RAM. Must have at least 2.3 megabytes of free space available on a hard disk. So if it's 2.5 megabytes of RAM, I have 8 megabytes of memory. But something tells me it's going to need more RAM than that. So in that case, we will access here and commit an atrocity. Turn virtual memory on. Let's give us 12 megs. 32-bit addressing. I can create a RAM disk. Those are the days, I tell you. Let's go ahead and restart it. Well, I just restarted, and I just read, we recommend turning on 32-bit addressing and turning off file sharing. Wish I did this earlier. Oh my god, I have to restart it again? Oh, damn it! I think it restarts faster than the sun. In 2293, a small ship returned from scientific exploration in the outer regions of the galaxy with news of a previously unencountered life form. Oh, we're already started. I got the restart that makes it make horrible noises. The DS-27E was designed specifically for extended long-range missions. Almost every system on the ship is completely automated, eliminating the need for extra crew members while leaving the pilot free to navigate. How to move and fire guns. The following keys to control your ship by pressing 5 to activate thrust, 4 to rotate right, 6 to rotate left. 5. Command is fire pellets. This is pretty easy. I'm getting it. I'm getting it. Alright. Let's play. What the hell is a memory partition? I have no idea. Well, I know one way to make it not fail. That's right. Wait, stop. That's right, 64 megabytes of virtual memory. There's no way anything can go wrong now. Now, unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be anything in here that says anything about that error. Just how to play the game and basic installation. Oh, we're already back again. Obligatory, oh, come on, baby, hold together. There's no way this can fuck up now. I give up. Total memory 65. 65 megs used as RAM on blunt. Let's turn that back down. Turn it off. There's a cache. Never mind. Hey, look! That looks just like my mouse! Okay, at this point I know like all the System 7 control panels like the back of my hand. I think that sound is coming from the internal speaker because it made this weird distorted noise when it was posting. Let's see if I can get it to do it again. Yeah, did you hear that? It's sort of like... So I'm thinking it's bleeding through? Like there's some like bleed going on? I don't know. Alrighty, so that's the Macintosh LC III, which in every way seems to perform better than the, I guess, quote-unquote superior Power Macintosh 6200 or Performa 6200 or 6630 CD. It goes by many names. Whatever the previous video was, this being a 68K Mac seems to perform a lot better than that did at 25 megahertz, while that thing was running at 75. I did see someone in the comments say that the 603, the PowerPC 603, is slow as crap and it's ass. And I'll believe it, because this is actually running this pretty good. This is probably running this better than the other one was going. Well, it's probably about the same. We're actually on 68K now. So I'm pretty happy about that, to finally see this magical thing on an actual legit 68K Mac finally. So that's it, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. We did sort of half-ass our System 7.1 install, but it is somewhat distinct from a 7.6 install. There are a couple system interface changes, some of which you may actually be able to notice if you look closely at both of the videos. That's all we have for today. Hopefully you enjoyed everything that we were doing here. There wasn't a whole lot to do with System 7, to be honest. There probably wasn't a whole lot to do with System 7 when it came out. I mean, you had to have the software packages and, you know, probably like a version of Microsoft Office, but then it's like, let's get down to work, right? And I'm sure there were a lot of games, and I could get some games and I could play it on it, and we could have like a field day, 68K game day video of some description, but we're not going to do that today. But at least now we have the system set up and ready to go with System 7.1 on a 68K Mac, so we can do something in the future. So that's all for today. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good one.